Hello students, good time to all. I am Chandan Pradhan. Welcome to your YouTube channel Chandan Physics. In this video, we are going to discuss Michelson-Morley experiment and its findings. Let's begin. In the 19th century, it was established that light had wave character as demonstrated by the phenomenon like interference, diffraction and polarization. It was well known that mechanical waves required a medium for their propagation, just like sound waves require air as medium of propagation. So, it was assumed that the medium through which light propagated was the luminiferous ether. Again I repeat, that medium is luminiferous ether, which was assigned strange properties such as zero density yet of rigidity to sustain light waves of high velocity. Hence, the speed of light with respect to ether will be c. Which is predicted from Maxwell's electromagnetic theory. That is the speed of light with respect to ether. Ether, that is the luminiferous ether. Two scientists, A. Michelson and E.M. Morley, performed an igneous experiment which was designed to demonstrate the velocity of earth relative to ether, in which the speed of light is c in all directions. So, considering the existence of ether, an observer or earth would experience an ether wind as the earth moves through it with orbital speed v, with the orbital speed and its value is nearly equal to 30 kilometer per second. The essential apparatus used by Michelson and Morley is an interferometer, which is based on the principle of interference of light. This is the basic construction of that of Michelson-Morley interferometer. This device is based upon the principle of interference of light. Let us discuss what are the construction of that apparatus. Looks like, let from a source S of monochromatic light is rendered parallel by placing S at the focus of a convex lens. The parallel rays fall on a thin half silvered glass plate P, so that the incident beam is split up into two parts. So that the beam first transmitted through P and beam 2 is reflected towards plane mirror M2. Beam 1 is reflected back by mirror M1, while beam 2 is reflected back by mirror M2. So, these two reflected rays then enter through that of telescope T from partially silver glass plate PM1 and PM2 are mutually perpendicular, and let PM1 and PM2 is equal to L. So the rays 1 and 2 entering telescope produce interference which may be constructive or destructive depending on the phase difference or path difference of that two beams. A compensating plate is used parallel to P in the path of beam 1 to compensate the extra path covered by the beam 2 reflected towards M2, which is again reflected back towards P to enter the telescope T. The whole apparatus was floating on mercury to avoid strains, and the whole system could be turned smoothly into any direction. One arm PM1 is parallel to the motion of earth and other PM2 was perpendicular to the direction of motion of earth. PM1, this one is PM2. This is the direction of V. Now our aim is to calculate the path difference between two beams 1 and 2. Let us see how we have to calculate the path difference in between these two beams, beam 1 and beam 2. What should be the mathematical procedure? Let us follow. As V is the velocity of apparatus, that is earth relative to ether, then the relative velocity of light along PM1 is C minus V, since C the speed of light with respect to ether and V is the orbital velocity, that is the earth, the speed of earth, the velocity of that of earth in that direction, and the velocity of light with respect to ether in this direction. That is why the resultant velocity will be C minus V. C minus V, which is called the upstream speed with respect to apparatus and so time taken by beam 1 to cover distance L from M to M1 is, since velocity is equal to distance by time, then L divided by C minus V be the time taken. Similarly, the relative velocity of light along M1P during return journey is C plus V, so that time taken by beam 1 reflected from M1 towards M is given by, and is L divided by C plus V. That means the time taken from P to M1 is L divided by C by V, and the time taken from M1 to P, that is L divided by C plus V. Since the light travels from this direction, the resultant velocity will be C minus V. When light travels from this direction, the resultant velocity will be C plus V. That's why the time taken to take that of distance will be L divided by C minus V and L divided by C plus V, so that the time taken by light 1 light beam 1 to travel from M1 to M2 and back is given by T1 is equal to L divided by C minus V plus L divided by C plus V. Taking LCM, that is C square minus V square, L whole into C plus V plus L whole into C minus V, that is 2 LC divided by C square minus V square is equal to 2 LC, taking C square common, that is 1 minus V square divided by c square, or T1 is equal to 2 cc, cancel out, that is L divided by C, 1 minus b square by c square to the power minus 1. Here we expand this term binomially, that is 2 terms, since another terms are neglected as the higher powers of b square by c square. Using that of binomial theorem, we have T1 is equal to 2L divided by C, 1 plus b square by c square. Applying using binomial theorem, binomial expansion. And here v square by c square, v square by c square is very less than 1. Let this take as equation number 1. Now the beam 2, after reflection from P moves towards mirror M2, which is at M2 dash, so that if T2 is the time taken by the ray in covering the path P M2 dash P dash, then distance moved by P dash is equal to V T2. Look here how these act. Let here is the P2, sorry, here is the P. After some time it will be at P dash, then that mirror M2 change its position to M2 dash, joining these. So the distance in between P and P dash will be how much? This is the length L. The distance in between these two, that is velocity into time taken, that is V T2, that is P dash is equal to V T2. From that figure, this is the right angle triangle, that's why P m2 dash p dash. From that of figure, p m2 dash p dash is equal to 2 p m2 dash. This is 2 times, that is 2 in place of p m2 dash. In that of triangle, this is the hypotenuse, that is base, this one is the perpendicular, length and base. Using Pythagoras theorem, v t2 divided by 2 whole square plus L square square root, this distance v2, then that distance will be half of that of v2, that will be 2 v square tt square divided by 4 plus L square square root. Since the distance that is p m2 dash p dash is equal to c t2, as c is the velocity of light in all directions. So c2 ct2 is equal to this much, ct2 is equal to 2 v square t square v square t2 square divided by 4 plus L square square root, squaring both sides, that is c square t2 square is equal to 4 v square t2 square divided by 4 plus L square, which implies c square t2 square is equal to v square t2 square plus 4 L square, which implies c square t2 square minus v square t2 square is equal to 4 L square, which implies t2 square taking common, that is c square minus v square is equal to 4 L square, which implies t2 square is equal to 4 L square divided by c square minus v square, which implies t2 is equal to 4 L square divided by c square minus v square square root, that will be 2L divided by c square minus v square square root is equal to 2L c square taking common that is 1 minus v square minus c square square root is equal to 2L divided by c 1 minus v square minus c square square root, that is equal to 2L by c 1 minus v square by c square to the power minus half. Using binomial theorem here, using binomial expansion to that of second place, since all these terms are neglected due to the higher terms, that is 2L divided by C 1 plus V square by C square, the value of T2. From that of binomial expansion formula, using the concept like V square by C square is very less than 1. This is equation number 2. Now we find the value of T1 from equation 1 and the value of T2 from equation 2. Now our aim is to find out what should be the path difference or phase difference. To finding that one, we have to calculate what should be the difference in time. So the difference in time of beam 1 and beam 2 for complete journey is given by, that is change in time del t is equal to T1 minus T2. T1 2L divided by C 1 plus V square by C square minus 2L divided by C 1 plus V square divided by 2C square is equal to 2L divided by C taking common 1 plus V square by C square minus 1 minus V square by C square. 1 cancel out, that is 2L by C V square by 2C square V square by C square. Sorry, here is the the 2C square. It is 2C square. That's why that is V square by 2C square. 2C square LCM 2V square minus V square. Therefore del T is equal to L V square divided by CQ, 2 to cancel out. This is equation number 3. So the difference in distance travelled by the two rays or beam, that is the path difference. The path difference is equal to C into del T. The path difference C into del T. C in place of del T, that is L B square divided by CQ, that is L V square divided by C square. This is the path difference. The apparatus is turned through 90 degree, that is the arms of interferometer interchange their places, that is PM2 is along the direction of Earth's motion and PM1 is perpendicular to it. So the total path difference between the two beams is also 2L V square divided by C square. When we interchange these two, the path difference will be how much? 2L V square divided by C square. When we interchange its arms into 90 degree, then path difference will be this much. Consequently, due to the change in path difference, this is L V square by C square, this is 2L V square by C square. Consequently, due to the change in path difference, there should be a shift in the interference fringe. As path difference of one wavelength lambda, there is a fringe shift of 1. So we can write as path difference of one wavelength lambda, there is a fringe shift of 1, fringe shift of 1. So for n number of fringe shift, for n number of fringe shift, what should be the path difference? The path difference is equal to n into lambda. Therefore, we can write n lambda is equal to 2L V square divided by C square, which implies n is equal to 2L V square divided by C square into lambda. Equation number 4. But we perform that of experiment which is known as the Michelson-Morley experiment. We introduce the values in experiment, in experimental device. The value of L is equal to 11 meter. The velocity of earth at 30 kilometer per second, which is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 4 meter per second. Therefore, V by C, 3 into 10 to the power 4 divided by 3 into 10 to the power 8, which is 10 to the power minus 4, and the wavelength of that of light 5.5 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter. Therefore, putting these values in that of equation, the number of fringe shift is equal to 2 into 10 to the 2 into 11 into 10 to the power minus 8 divided by 5.5 into 10 to the power minus 7, that is equal to 0.4 in that of Michelson-Morley experiment device, that is Michelson-Morley interferometer. The interferometer was capable of detecting the fringe as small as 0.01 of a fringe. So, fringe shift of 0.4 could have been easily detected by that of apparatus. This is the range. But no fringe shift was observed, since the experiments was performed by day and night from season to season throughout the year, but there was no fringe shift at all. This is called the null result. The result is null result. since n is equal to always 0, and was a blow to ether hypothesis, as we previously assumed that the whole universe, the whole earth is made up of luminiferous ether. That assumption is totally wrong by that of particular Michelson-Morley experiment, since we achieve n is equal to 0 or null result. This is the blow to ether hypothesis. The outcome of that experiment suggested that there is no relative velocity between earth and the ether, or the effect of ether are undetectable. In other words, the idea of absolute frame of reference or ether was rejected, as we assumed. The experiment also showed that the speed of light over a closed path measured on earth is same in all directions, that is, it is isotropic. But what is the outcome of that of experiment? The result of that of experiment, the speed of light over a closed path measured on earth is same in all directions, that is, it is isotropic. There will be no such medium like luminiferous ether. So, with the help of this video lecture, we understand what is that of Michelson-Morley experiment, that apparatus, what is C, V, and the concepts like the time taken T1, the time taken by using this concept, the time taken for that of T2, then the difference in time. As a result, there will be a difference in path difference, and again change that of positions of M1 and M2, or we interchange by rotated 90 degree, we achieve another path difference. So, what should be the fringe shift? Using its values, we find the capability of that of experimental device, but it provides null result. That means the Michelson-Morley experiment is null result. That indicates there will be no such medium like ether, or it is a blow to ether hypothesis. And the result outcome, the speed of light over a closed path measured on earth is same in all directions, that is, the speed of light is isotropic. So, with this useful and informative notes, let me wind up this session. Thank you.